Let's talk about something we've all had, right? Diarrhea. Usually we just think of it as, a really bad day, a minor inconvenience. But what if I told you it's actually one of the world's most effective child killers? Seriously, today we're going to look at the simple science behind this deceptively deadly problem and the absolutely genius solution that saved millions of lives.
All right, so to really get our heads around the cure, we first have to understand the sheer scale of the problem. And trust me, it's way, way bigger than you probably think.
Just look at that number for a second. 1.7 billion. That's with a B. That's how many times a child gets sick with a diarrheal disease every single year. It's an almost unimaginable amount of suffering, and it's happening all over the world, pretty much constantly.
And the tragic result of all those cases? It's this number. Almost 500,000 kids under the age of 5 lose their lives to it every single year. I mean, to put that into perspective, that makes diarrhea the third leading cause of death for young children on the entire planet. This is not just a stomach bug, it's a full-blown global catastrophe.
So what are we even talking about, clinically speaking? Well, the medical definition for acute diarrhea is pretty straightforward. It's having 3 or more loose or liquid stools in a single day for less than 2 weeks. That's it. A really simple definition for a profoundly complex problem. Which, of course, leads to the big question, right? If it's this common and the definition seems so simple, why is it causing so much devastation? Well, the answer isn't in the germ itself, but in what it does to the human body.
Okay, let's go inside. Let's take a look at how this everyday illness turns into a killer. It's really a story of a body turning on itself.
And here is the absolute key to understanding everything. The virus, the bacteria, that's not usually what kills the person. No. The real danger, the killer, is the rapid loss of water and essential salts. Electrolytes. The body is literally being flushed of the very fluids it needs to function, and that process has a name: dehydration.
So, health workers on the ground are trained to look for these 2 critical stages. It starts out as some dehydration. You'll see a child who's restless, irritable, really thirsty. They'll drink anything you give them. But if it gets worse, it progresses to severe dehydration. And the signs are, well, they're dire. The child becomes lethargic, almost floppy. Their eyes look sunken. And worst of all, they're often too weak to even drink. That right there, that's the tipping point. That's when organs can start to fail.
But here's the good news. For this devastating process, we have a solution. And honestly, it is one of the most brilliant, simple, and effective inventions in all of modern medicine.
It's a little packet of powder. It's called Oral Rehydration Solution, or ORS for short. And that quote? That's not an exaggeration. We're talking about doctors and scientists putting this humble packet right up there with antibiotics and vaccines in terms of its impact on humanity.
The absolute genius of ORS is this incredibly simple but precise recipe. It's not just salt water, that's important. You've got sodium to replace the lost salt, potassium for another vital electrolyte, and citrate to help fix the body's acid-base balance. But the real magic ingredient is the glucose. This was the breakthrough discovery. The body has this amazing co-transport system where a molecule of sugar and a molecule of sodium get absorbed together. So the glucose acts like a secret key, unlocking a door in the intestine that pulls the sodium in, and right behind the sodium comes the water. You're basically hacking the body's own system to reverse the dehydration. It's just brilliant.
And ORS has a partner in crime, zinc. Giving a kid a short course of zinc tablets along with the ORS doesn't just help with the dehydration, it actually helps their body fight back. It can shorten the illness by about 25% and even makes future bouts of diarrhea less severe. It's a powerful 1-2 punch.
So we have the cure. It's simple, it's cheap, but, having a solution and actually getting it to the people who need it, those are 2 completely different challenges. Let's take a look at India, a country that deals with a huge number of these cases, to see how the system is supposed to work.
This table really gets to the heart of the problem. It's all about access. You can see that most of the cases, 65%, happen in rural areas. But now look at the case fatality rate, the CFR. That's the chance a sick child will die. It is almost double in rural areas. The disease isn't stronger out there. The life-saving solution is just a lot harder to get. So to try and bridge that gap, India relies on this chain of care. It all starts at the village level with community health workers. They're called ASHAs, and they are the absolute first line of defense. They hand out ORS packets, they teach parents what to do. If a case gets more serious, the child moves up the chain to a primary health center, a PHC. And for the most severe cases, they go to a community health center, a CHC,
where there are specialists and more advanced equipment. Look, treatment is absolutely vital. But the real endgame, the ultimate goal, is to stop kids from getting sick in the first place. So, how do you build a better defense? The answer is all about prevention.
And there's no single silver bullet here. It's a whole strategy, a combination of public health basics. We're talking about things that sound simple but are so important, like access to safe drinking water, proper toilets, and just plain old hand washing with soap. Then you have the medical heavy hitters. The rotavirus vaccine has been a total game changer, and so is exclusive breastfeeding for the first 6 months, which gives babies a huge immune boost.
And we know this stuff works on a massive scale. Take India's Swachh Bharat mission. It was this huge national campaign to improve sanitation and end the practice of open defecation. And the result? Villages that took part saw a measurable 30% drop in diarrhea cases. It just goes to show you that things like toilets and clean water are a powerful kind of vaccine all on their own.
Okay, so we have a cheap, incredibly effective treatment. We have a clear playbook for prevention. It seems like we should be done, right? But the fight is not over, not by a long shot. Let's look at the final hurdles.
The biggest barriers that are left, well, they aren't really about infrastructure or medicine anymore. They're about people. You have these deeply rooted cultural beliefs and hygiene habits that can be really tough to change. And the solution isn't just about experts coming in and telling people what to do. It's about empowering communities to lead their own change through education that makes sense to them.
Which leaves us with this final, and I think, really critical thought. We have a life-saving cure that costs just pennies and can literally fit in the palm of your hand. So why? Why is it still out of reach for hundreds of thousands of children every single year? The answer to that question, well, it tells us a lot less about the disease and a whole lot more about the world we live in.